Welcome once again to Phoenix Edu. We had already studied about the plant tissues. Now we are going to study the animal tissues. Animal tissues, there are different types of animal tissues. Epithelial tissues, muscular tissues, connective tissues and nervous tissues. If we see about the epithelial tissues, there are different types of epithelial tissues. Squamous epithelium, columnar epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, ciliated epithelium and glandular epithelium. So we have 5 different types of epithelial tissues. Muscular tissues, once again it is divided into 3 different parts, that is connective tissue, skeletal tissue and vascular tissue. Then connective tissue it is and nervous tissue. Epithelial tissue. Now we will study about the epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue means a tissue which grows on another tissue. The function of epithelial tissue is the protective covering. Here we can see that epithelial tissue helps in covering the external part of the body as well as it also covers the internal organs. So basically ये क्या कर रही है, प्रोटेक्शन कर रही है. जितनी भी external surface है body parts के, that is covered by epithelial tissue as well as the hollow cavities, that they are also covered with the epithelial tissue. If we see that how our cells are natured in the epithelial tissue, so they are closely packed. They are closely packed like this and they have very little cementing material between them. Okay, in between the cell there is very little cementing material. Basically this type of tissues helps in regulation of permeability. Permeability means entry and exit of the substance. Okay, so the characteristics of epithelial tissue are, first of all, its function is protective covering. It protect the external surface of the body as well as the main internal organs, visceral organs. The cells are also closely packed and they have very small amount of cementing material. Basically they are helping in the regulating of permeability. Let's see the first type of epithelium, that is squamous epithelium. If we see the types of cell, so they are the polygonal disc shaped cell. The cells are polygonal and disc shaped. Here also we can see there is a very little intercellular space. It helps in the diffusion. When there are different layers present in above the layer, we can see more layers are present on one another. It is termed as stratified squamous epithelium. It is termed as a stratified squamous epithelium. It forms the delicate lining of the cavities where we can find the squamous epithelium. We can find it in the lining of cavities like mouth, esophagus, inside the blood vessels, and etc. So squamous epithelium, they have the polygonal shape, very little intercellular space. The function of the squamous epithelium is diffusion, and if there are a number of layers of the epithelium, we will term it as a stratified epithelium. Next, the cuboidal epithelium. As we can see, the shape of the cells are almost square or cuboid. They are almost of same height. Such epithelium perform the function like excretion, secretion, absorption, and also it gives mechanical support. It also gives the mechanical support. Here, such type of epithelium can be found in kidney tubules, thyroid vesicles. Next is columnar epithelium. Here you can see that the cells are the pillar-like. The structure of cell is pillar-like. Its function is secretion and absorption. It can be found in small intestine, gallbladder, etc. The next type of epithelium is ciliated epithelium. Previously we had seen the columnar epithelium whose cell was pillar-like. Okay, when the same epithelium has the cilia on the surface, it is termed as ciliated epithelium. Cilia is present on the surface, which is known as ciliated epithelium. Such type of epithelium helps in transporting and pushing the substance. For example, such type of epithelium is present in the oviducts, because when ova is released, it is pushed or transported towards the fallopian tube and to the uterus. Second thing, also mucus, where mucus is generated, nasal passage in the respiratory tract, there also such type of epithelium is present. Due to the cilia, the mucus is pushed forward. Glandular epithelium, whenever the epithelium's membrane is inner folded like this, so it forms the gland which helps in the secretion of different substance. For example, gastric glands, and intestinal glands. So when an epithelium have the fold like this, they form the glands, and they helps in the secretion of the hormones or any chemical substances. Next is the connective tissue. Now connective tissue they are the loosely spaced. They are embedded intercellular matrix, and the matrix may be jelly-like, fluid, dense or rigid. So now we are studying about the blood whose matrix is fluid or liquid matrix. If we studied about the blood has the different components, that is RBC, red blood cells. RBC helps in transportation of oxygen. It contains the pigment, red pigment, that is known as hemoglobin. Also, RBC is the cell which does not contain nucleus. It does not contain nucleus, and RBC's lifespan is 120 days. This is the one type of cell which is present in the blood. Red blood cells are also known as erythrocytes. Second is WBC. WBC are the cell which helps in the fighting of the infections. We have different types of WBC. Mainly they are divided into the granulocytes and agranulocytes. Granulocytes means they contain the granules. They contain the granules in the cells, and agranulocytes, they does not contain the granules. If we term as the what are the agranulocytes, so they are monocyte and lymphocyte. Other granulocytes, they are neutrophil, basophil and eosinophil. Basically, the function of WBC are fighting the infection. If we see the structure of the nucleus, we can see that they have the bilobed nucleus. Nucleus are bilobed. Here it is like this. Also, WBC are irregular in shape. WBC are irregular in shape. Now let's talk about the another cell, that is platelets. Platelets, they help in blood clotting. Another component of the blood is plasma. This is only the liquid part of the blood. It contains the dissolved salts, hormones, nutrients, etc. And the color of the plasma is yellowish straw like. All the cells are present in the plasma. Plasma is the fluid material of the blood. Next is lymph. Lymph, it is the intercellular extracellular fluid which drain out and collected in lymph capillaries. Lymph also contain the WBC, thus its function is helps in fighting infections. Lymph, it also helps in absorption of fats. So we had studied about the liquid connective tissue whose matrix is liquid fluid like matrix. The component of the blood is RBC, WBC, platelet and plasma. RBC is known as erythrocyte, WBC is known as leukocytes, and platelet, it is known as thrombocyte. Platelets, it is known as thrombocyte. It contains the enzyme which is known as thrombosin, which helps in the blood clotting. Next is rigid connective tissue. अगर rigid connective tissue की बात करें, मतलब we are talking about the hard tissue. Okay, so bone is the hardest tissue. It forms the framework, or you can say the skeletal system. अगर बोन का स्ट्रक्चर देखें, विल सी द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ बोन. वी कैन सी हियर द हवेसियन सिस्टम. दिस होल थिंग इज हवेसियन सिस्टम. एंड ऑस्टियोसाइट, ऑस्टियोसाइट क्या है? इट इज अ टाइप ऑफ अ cell which is present in the bone. There are different types of, 4 different types of cell. Here we are talking about the osteocyte, and the lacunae, it is the hollow space where we can see the osteocytes. Also there is the blood vessels within the perforating canal. Bones are made up of calcium, phosphorus. We all know that it is the calcium reservoir. जब भी बॉडी को कैल्शियम की ज़रूरत होती है, so it extract from the bone. It is the reservoir of the calcium. It also support the muscles. It also helps in generation of new blood cells. जो बोन मैरो होता है, ओके, बोन्स के बीच में जो बोन मैरो होता है, दैट हेल्प्स इन जनरेशन ऑफ न्यू ब्लड सेल्स. सो दिस इज अबाउट द बोन. नाउ कमिंग टू द लिगामेंट्स एंड टेंडन्स. अगर बोन है, ओके, इफ दिस इज द बोन, so it is connected with the muscles, okay, that is ligaments and tendons, which helps in the movement of the bone. If we see, there are 2 different types of the tissues, that is ligaments and tendons. जो ligaments है, that is made up of yellow fiber, and जो tendons है, they are made up of white fibers. Ligaments जो होते हैं, they are more flexible. Tendons, they are more strong. If we see which type of proteins are present here, so in ligaments, elastin protein can be seen, and in collagen, and in tendons, the collagen protein can be seen. This supports the bone and it helps in the movement of the limbs and other structures. कार्टिलेज, देयर आर टू डिफरेंट थिंग, बोन्स एंड कार्टिलेज. जब हमने बोन के बारे में पढ़ा, सो वी हैड स्टडीड दैट इट इज मेड अप ऑफ कैल्शियम एंड फोस्फोरस एंड इट इज हार्ड, वेयर इज कार्टिलेज इट इज द सॉफ्ट, इट इज फ्लेक्सिबल एंड इट इज मेड अप ऑफ प्रोटीन एंड शुगर. इट ऑल्सो प्रेजेंट इन द बिटवीन ऑफ द टू बोन्स. जो नी का पार्ट होता है वहाँ पे बीच में it is present, it absorbs the mechanical shock and it also helps in the movement. So elasticity is due to the protein which is known as chondrin, forms the embryonic skeleton of vertebrates and adult skeleton of cartilaginous fish. Embryonic skeleton का मतलब है कि जब भी एम्ब्रियो होता है उसमें जो skeletal first initially develop होता है that is of cartilage and later on it is converted into the bony structure. And adult skeleton, cartilaginous skeleton किस में देखने को मिलेगा? So वो हमें देखने को मिलेगा fish. किस टाइप के fish? So that is example shark and ray fish. It also provides support and flexibility. Present in ear pinna. Ear pinna means outer ear. जो outer ear है that is known as ear pinna. Nose tip, trachea. Trachea means windpipe and it also present in the joints such as knee. Next tissue is areolar tissues. It is also the loose connective tissues. It is made up of white collagen fiber and yellow elastic fiber. This tissue fills the space inside the organ. जहाँ पे भी जो hollow spaces present होता है वहाँ पे this kind of tissue is present. It is found in around the blood vessels and nerves between the skin and muscles. It also helps in protection of the organ. It also gives the support and it also provides the framework. So it provides the support and helps to protect organs. It also helps bind the skin together, provide protective framework that keep major structure in place and offer the support. इसका जो main काम है that is protective framework and offering the support. Adipose tissue जो fat की जो layer है जो जमा होती है that is they have the oval and round cells. Cells are called adipocytes. Found below the skin and between the internal organs जहाँ पे fat के layer जमा होती है वो act as insulator and prevent the loss of heat and helps on the storage and forms of fat. So this is about the adipose tissue. Now coming to the muscular tissue, these are those tissues which are present in the muscles. As we know, we have different types of muscles, voluntary muscles, involuntary muscles. The muscles which are present in heart, that is also a different type of muscle. So we'll study about the different types of muscular tissues. First study कि उनके सेल को क्या बोलते हैं, मोनोसाइट. जैसे एडिपोस टिश्यूज़ के हमने देखा एडिपोसाइट्स हैं, ओके, इसके सेल को हम बोल रहे हैं मायोसाइट्स. नाउ दे हैव द मायोफाइब्रिल्स मेड अप ऑफ एक्टिन एंड मायोसिन फिलामेंट. ये जो फिलामेंट्स हैं दे आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल एंड दे आर हेल्पिंग इन द रिलैक्सेशन एंड कॉन्ट्रैक्शन. क्योंकि मसल्स जब काम करती है वो पेयर में काम करती है, ओके, एक रिलैक्स होगी दूसरी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट होगी, दूसरी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट होगी तो पहली रिलैक्स होगी. दिस हेल्प्स बाय एक्टिन एंड मायोसिन filaments. They show contraction and relaxation. जो वो contraction करते हैं that is due to the contractile protein. They have the contractile protein and the cytoplasm of muscle fiber is called sarcoplasm. Now there are different types of muscular tissues. First we will study about the striated muscles or it is skeletal muscles. Now it has the strips. Here it is sarcolemma. It is the plasma membrane. जो बाहर की जो plasma membrane है इस सेल की उसको हम plasma membrane नहीं बोल रहे, उसको हम बोल रहे sarcolemma. Nucleus and myofibrils which helps in relaxation and contraction make up around 40% of total body mass. They are voluntary muscles. Now voluntary muscles मतलब वो muscles which can be controlled by us. For example, limbs की जो muscles होती है they are mainly help in locomotion and are attached to the skeleton. The cells are long. The cells कैसे हैं, long है. Nuclei present है, many nuclei is present and the skeletal muscles can be found in the muscles of limb, face, neck जो भी चीज़ें हम अपने कंट्रोल में मूव कर सकते हैं वहाँ पे सब जगह स्केलेटल मसल्स प्रेजेंट है. नेक्स्ट इट इज़ नॉन स्ट्राइएटेड और स्मूथ मसल्स. नाउ दिस टाइप ऑफ मसल्स इज फाउंड इन देयर एक्शंस आर इनवॉलेंट्री एंड जो उनके cells है they are spindle shaped. The cells are spindle shapes, so they don't have the striation. They are present in the involuntary muscles जहाँ पे आप बोल सकते हैं digestion, lungs, uterine wall. ये जितनी भी involuntary मसल्स जहाँ पे प्रेजेंट होती है वहाँ पे इस टाइप की मसल्स प्रेजेंट होगी. सिंगल न्यूक्लियस है एंड द सेल्स आर स्पिंडल शेप. वहाँ पे हमने देखा था मल्टीपल न्यूक्लियस है और वहाँ पे सिलेंड्रिकल सेल थे. वॉल्स ऑफ स्टमक, यूट्रस एंड इट इज़ कंट्रोल्ड बाय ब्रेन. इट कैन नॉट बी कंट्रोल्ड बाय us directly, it is controlled by the brain. Third is cardiac muscles. The muscles which are present in the heart, that particular muscles are known as cardiac muscles. It has the branched cell and it has the intercalated disc present between them. So it shows the rhythmic contraction. It is also involuntary muscles. The cells are branched and cylindrical. Nucleus and striation are present. The cells of the cardiac muscle tissues are shorter than the skeletal tissues. This type of muscles shows the rhythmic contractions. Last, it is the nervous tissue. Nervous tissue is contain the nerve cell, which you can say it as a neuron. Dendrites are present here. So dendrites, what they do, they receive these signals from the receptor and these are passed on to whole cell through the axon and then to the terminal. Now there is the space between two nerve cells. If I once again here another cell. Once the signal is received from the dendrite, it is passed through the cell body. This is the cell body and this is the nucleus, and here it is passed through the axon and to the nerve ending. Now here this is the gap between two nerve cells. It is known as synapse. Here the electrical impulse, जो electrical impulse है, that is converted into chemical which is known as neurotransmitter. This neurotransmitter is once again when enter into the another cell, it is converted into electrical impulse, and so on the message is transferred from one neuron to another neuron and finally to the brain. So this is about the nervous tissue. So this is all about the animal tissue. We have studied about the different animal tissues, epithelial tissues, skeletal tissues, muscular tissues, and blood and lymph. Okay, if you have any queries, you can comment down in the comment box. Thank you.